For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of USC's Tuesday practice leading up to the Colorado game on Saturday. I thought it was a good practice overall. Sam definitely had a zip in his step. There was a lot of deep balls that he threw that I thought were on point, and crowd noise was pumped in as they're going to Colorado on Saturday. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good practice from USC.
Yeah, and I think they were making a lot of noise even at the end on the last 11-on-11 series. It looked like they were having fun out there and getting some stuff done. And I thought, in general, a pretty upbeat practice. We don't think they knew that they had, as you were talking to some of them, known that they had moved up from 17th to 11th in the college football playoff rankings. But they look like they're feeling pretty good about themselves and realizing, they got to show up every week, every quarter, every play, and get themselves past some of those where they fall back or they play three quarters and not the fourth quarter. I think they're very well aware that there's a correlation between how they show up and play and how they practice and the results.
Mm-hmm. The results of the college football playoff new ranking came out right as practice was starting, so a lot of players didn't know. So we asked them to guess. I know I asked aca'cedric where to guess. He guessed 10. He was pretty right. And then Ronald Jones wouldn't guess. He said, but when he found out, he's like, oh, for real? That's what's up. So they were excited about it for sure. But I mean, if you're a USC fan watching, what does that ranking mean going forward?
Well, I think for Sam, he also wouldn't guess. But then when he heard 11, he said, we've had those two losses, and Washington State's a pretty good team, and Notre Dame's a really good team. But he said, I think we've had some good wins. I think we played pretty well the last couple of weeks. And he said, so I think that's legit. We kind of deserve it. And I don't think he's wrong. I think, they deserve to be up there. I thought in the polls, USC was, of all the two-loss teams, I thought USC was farther down among the two-loss teams than they should have been. We see them, we know what they can do. Other people see what at times they can't do. But we know, that, and a lot of those teams with two losses, everybody's got some, issues. But I think 11th is about where they ought to be this week. You still, think about that Washington State game, and if you had that game back, where does that put them? And it puts them right in the hunt. It puts them maybe 5th or something like that, and that's a whole different world than they're in now. But they're moving in the right direction toward the end of the year, which is what you have to be doing. Yeah.
As far as injuries go, there's a lot of in and out today. We didn't see Toe Lobendahn practice, as Helton said on Saturday. He has a lower body injury. Uchenna Nwosu wasn't even at practice today, neither was Porter Gustin. Iman Marshall, though, got back into work. He was working with the second team during team periods. He had a brace on his knee. And then we also saw Juliana Falanico. He came back, even though he said that he might have been out for a while. He practiced as well. There's a lot of guys who came in and out.
Yeah, Vavai Malabai came back, nothing, on either knee, and because I'm not sure which one it is, but he ran the ball tough today. Chuma, there are always questions about, Chuma and finishing games and things like that. Well, he was there the whole practice. So, on balance, they're probably better off than they would have been if everybody would have stayed away. But enough guys. We think Josh Fatu didn't exactly have his shoulder pads on. Josh Fatu actually was back with his. It didn't look like he had his shoulder pads. It looked like he had the shells on, but he was out there a lot, and he got a lot done. Josh Fallow, he's back now, and he still a little rusty, but he's catching the ball. So I think on balance, more guys back. Then now you've got the 4 running backs all ready to go. Stephen Carr looked good today. Stephen Mitchell was out there, hadn't practiced last week, obviously played really well Saturday. He was out there, looked pretty good. I think they're moving in the right direction. Chase McGrath will not be out there all week kicking, but they're still going to use him for field goals and extra points. Yeah. Reed Budrich, who stepped in and banged a couple of them out of the end zone, will be the kickoff guy.
Yeah. But as far as Uchenna Nwosu goes, Helton didn't mention him as an injury after Saturday's game, but we did see him walk up the tunnel very limpy. I think Helton said today he had an ankle. Are you concerned at all? Because, I mean, now you have Porter Gustin down. He was listed as doubtful for Saturday. Now Uchenna, where do you think he lands?
Well, the other complication there is another player didn't practice, wasn't in pads, was Connor Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and Christian Rector was back, not in pads, but he was out there running through, he loosened up, he did all the calisthenics and all that, and then he was doing some individual conditioning stuff. So, you don't want to be down like your first 3 of your 4 outside linebacker guys. Yeah. I mean, against anybody. So, I mean, they're very fortunate that Jordan Iosefa came through last week and looked like, okay, that's a position he can really play. But you'd love to have him still be able to go with Uchenna this week. If he's not there, you've got Olawale Batiku and Levi Jones, and you're moving maybe a couple of those guys out there. But that would be asking a lot with Jordan Iosefa, who's basically just second game as a starter, and somebody who's never played there before. So I think you need Chenna and Connor Murphy both to get back.
Mm-hmm. Today is Tuesday, which means it's the offensive day. We get to talk to offensive players, kind of break down what happened on Saturday. You got to ask both T and Helton about red zone issues that USC is having. What did they have to say?
Yeah, well, and 2 categories. This is a team that can drive the ball 95 yards and 98 yards in ways in which we haven't seen them. They're averaging, Clay pointed out, they're averaging 492 yards of offense, which is the most since 2005, the legendary 2005 team, and yet they're ranked 111th in the nation in fourth down conversions, and they're ranked 116th in the nation in red zone. So there's a disconnect there that is kind of shocking when you think about the weapons that this team has and the problems that they've got. Clay said one of the things that's happening is they go for it more on fourth down and maybe fourth and longer than you normally would. So he said they've gotten more fourth down opportunities and more chances to not make it. And we've certainly seen that. The red zone, both T and Clay just say, mistakes, turnovers, we're just not executing there. No real explanation, as to what they think exactly is happening. No, they know what they think. They've got to, stop making the mistakes. But they both agreed that they've had some rough patches in the red zone.
Mm-hmm. As far as Colorado goes, they're not the most challenging opponent as USC has faced leading up to this game. Now USC's ranked 11. Is there any chance that they could overlook this or not focus on Colorado?
You would hope not, just for the fact that this is the game, the Pac-12 South clinching game. Yeah. You would think that would be enough. And over the years, for some reason, USC has always gone and played well at Colorado in really bad weather. I mean, and luckily this game is not a night game. It'd be in the 30s, yeah. And there's supposed to be a little snow, but it's supposed to be kind of sunny and 50 during the game. So they'll take that 2 o'clock game start, anytime. But they've always surprised us. They've played well with snow on the field, and I think a couple of years ago it was the second coldest, game time start USC'd ever had, and they just went out and played. So they're not like, in the old days, USC, it used to be, if it was cold weather, bad weather, they're in trouble. I think Pete Carroll kind of got them past that, where you just haven't seen them react badly. So I think they're okay that way. But they've always played well at Colorado, and I don't know if I know why, but they have.
Interesting. I mean, we're kind of in that part of the season where it's kind of business as usual, nothing super noteworthy from practice. Anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I thought, I think what you see with young teams, and then, you can still call this a young team in some ways. They are and they aren't. Rojo and Sam and those guys obviously aren't, and Toa and Nico and Chuma and all of that. But they're learning how to practice. I think they're learning how to do what they need to do each week to get themselves ready. I think, and this would be nice if this is the 3rd week in a row. I mean, I think the Notre Dame game was a was a really harsh learning lesson of how not to get ready, how not to, transfer practice to a game, and now they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up from USC. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.